ready, 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 we're ready, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 ready. Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl never wine non-stop. We are the drinks them in a my cup. We gonna party all night, all night. 24 parties we hit in a row. Tonight at the very last show. Before we are not on the road, the girl them a release the load. So let me see your hands up, so everybody know, put your hands up, so if you're ready for the road, let your friend them know. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road. So we're ready, yeah, we're ready, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 yeah, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. The girl them a wait all week, figured up on the road like freak. The music full of applause, with thousands of chipping feet. Everywhere you look is just food, and everybody in a real nice mood. We gonna party all night, all night. Everyone with painted body, clean credit and tainted money. Nobody want to dance by themselves, everybody wanna dance on somebody. Well, let me see your hands up, so everybody know put your hands up, so if you're ready for the road, let your friend them know. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. It's another Saturday evening. The land on which this town hall is being live streamed is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days, or 1,363 days. However you want to put it, that's how long almost 30,000 workers had to wait for a contract. While inflation rose, workers administering the economic security of Canada had to live on 2016 salaries, not only in terms of wages, but our members had to wait 5 years before they could be made permanent, longer than anywhere in the public service. When COVID-19 hit, workers put aside their own grief and worked diligently to support the government's relief efforts, with thousands volunteering to work on jobs that were outside of their job description. Thousands of our members worked to administer the Canada Emergency Relief Benefit. Our members serve Canadians under exceedingly difficult times, working from home, toddler in one hand, and a cell phone, their own cell phone in the other hand, helping Canadians. Our call center workers, 70% of which are temporary workers, who work under very strict working conditions, became the cornerstone of the foundation that I would say the builder rejected. Answering thousands and thousands of phone calls. To compound it, workers had to endure Phoenix for over 4 years and counting of not being paid properly. I don't know how many of you watching here tonight, would continue working every day without being paid properly. This system has brought chaos to the public service. Members lost their homes, families fell apart, financial ruin was the order of the day. Depression, anxiety, and poor mental health followed. As a matter of fact, a coroner's report found that Phoenix played a major role in a member's death. We've lobbied members of parliament across the country to fix this system. Our union also led a host of activities to address the Phoenix problem. Our members suffered so much under Phoenix. That's why our union stood firm in rejecting the government's paltry offer of 5 days leave, when other unions accepted it. Today, brothers and sisters, our union announced sweeping changes to our contract. In addition to this historic contract, PSAC also won another major victory, and that is the Phoenix compensation. Today, every worker will be properly compensated for the Phoenix payroll disaster. Joining me first to talk about this major victory is Sister Magali Picard, PSAC's first national vice president.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, Nicholas. Thank you so very much for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be with you tonight. I cannot start to talk about Phoenix without thanking you, thanking your team, your bargaining team. What a job they made after all those years. They never give up. They really fight like crazy against your employer. And we can be proud tonight. And also, I want to thank your component. What a strong component you've got. Thank you, Marc. Thank you, your team. We can celebrate tonight. You asked me to talk about Phoenix and the damages because everybody needs to know that we negotiate that for Treasury Board, and what we negotiate is going to be applied to all the agencies under Treasury Board. So it's also good when I'm going to talk to you to all the members of UTE, all the people under CRA who are unionized, who were unionized with PSAC. So you probably read a lot about that because that's something that it's been like spread out a lot in the last week. So let me tell you about the damages regarding Phoenix. We know that since the launch of Phoenix in 2016, the 28th of February, our members were so stressed of being paid, not being paid, being overpaid, not paid at all. It was terrible. It's a disaster, a real fiasco. So what we negotiate, it's really important that people understand that it's for the first year of Phoenix. So it started for 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So the way it works, so for the first year, 2016, the entire membership who are under Phoenix and the people that I'm talking tonight, the CRA members, the UTE members, they're entitled for the first year for $1,000 of damages. It's including, it's separate. If you look at the entire picture, you've got for the first 4 years, $2,500 who's going to be paid to the entire membership of PSAC, all our members who are under Phoenix since 2016. For the first year, our members going to be entitled for $1,000. We're talking here about the delay to implement the collective agreement and also for the damages created by Phoenix. A lot of members are asking us, well, Magali, I've been really stressed about Phoenix, but personally, I was not hit by Phoenix. This is not what we're talking about right now. All our membership, been hit or not by Phoenix, everybody's going to be entitled for what I'm going to talk to you. So for 16, we're talking about the $1,000. 17, 18, 19, and 2020, everybody's going to be entitled for $500 per year for a total for the first 4 years of $2,500. If some people are now retired, so good for you. If in 2018, you're now at your retirement, you are still entitled for 2016, 17, and 18. To be entitled for this damages, this compensation, the only thing that you have to look, did I work 1 day inside this calendar year. If it's your situation, you're entitled for the compensation for that year. So just to take an example, somebody is still working and was working in 16 will be entitled for 2,500. Somebody who was at his retirement since 2017 will be entitled for 16 for $1,000 and 500 for 17 if you work one day in 2017, for a big total of 2,500. What is really interesting, because now I'm talking to members of UTE who are working for CRA, the way we dealt that, the way we negotiate that, it's to make sure that this amount will be tax-free, non-taxable. Why? Because we are talking here about moral damages. And it's included inside the Taxation Act that moral damages, it's tax-free. So we are waiting now that we signed that and we negotiate that with our PA table. Now we're waiting for CRA to confirm that those amounts going to be tax-free. If there's a big surprise, because I have to be honest with you tonight, the way we sign that, the way we negotiate that, we make sure with Treasury Board, when we put the wording, we both sides agree that those amounts should be tax-free. So we paid a lot of attention. We also ask our firm, law firm that we work since so many years, the one who helped us to win the equity, the equity, for the one who were there in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about. So this firm, Raven Law, helped us to write, to make sure that the wording would be perfect to be in accordance with a CRA ruling, to make sure that this is going to be a tax-free compensation. So we're waiting for that. What we've been heard, it's just like an administration way. We should have the answer from CRA really soon. And if by any surprise they decided that it's not true and that it's not, we will for sure challenge CRA. But you know what? I don't want to go there tonight. It's a really good night. We're really pleased that after all those years that you are working so hard for all the citizens in this country, especially since the beginning of this pandemic. It's amazing what you were able to do. I'm telling you, everywhere in this country, people are really surprised of the way you were able to help all the citizens in Canada during this pandemic and even before. So tonight, let's celebrate. 2,500 is going to be non-taxable. It's for the entire membership. All the members who are also under agencies like you, CRA, people with agriculture who are working for the Canada Inspection Agency. So when we negotiate that, we make sure that it's going to be the same for everyone. People are asking me, Magali, you know what? I've not been hit directly. But you know what? Every members of PSAC were stressed. Am I going to have my paycheck? Can I be sure that the amount I receive is the right one? I'm really afraid about that. Can I go to my retirement without having any problem with Phoenix? So that's the way we negotiate that, to make sure that it's not normal to be a public servant employee in 2016 to 20 and being stressed of not being paid by your employer. It's unbelievable. So that's why we make sure when we negotiate that we're talking here about moral damages. For our members who really suffered more than 2,500, the one who are put grievance, who are saying, you know what, I've lost $2,000 with the pandemic, I've lost $10,000, all those grievances still gonna be heard. We will continue our fight because this 2,500, there's 1,500 just for Phoenix damages and 1,000 because they were late to implement the collective agreement that we negotiated in the past. So all our members who put grievance for damages over 1,500, it's not finished. I'm not telling you tonight that it's 2,500 and that's it. It's going to be the payment for the first 4 years of Phoenix for everyone. So now we will continue our fight and we will continue to debate with Treasury Board with people who had more than $1,500 of damages created by Phoenix. It's not done. So if I can be clear, if I want everyone to understand, everybody's who are listening tonight will be, if they're working since 2016 and they're still under CRA today and under Phoenix and are members of PSAC, everybody's going to receive $2,500. And the one who are now at their retirement, it's $1,000 for the first year, $500 per year after that. So, Nicholas, I don't know if I'm clear. I just want to make sure, because even for the people under the PA table, we still have people who are telling me, I want to prove that I had problem under Phoenix to be sure that I will receive this $2,500. It's going to be for each and every member of PSAC who are under Treasury Board or the agency. Do you have any question, Nicholas? Or do you think our people have some question? When are we going to be paid?
Sure.
That's the question.
That's a good question.
So first of all, we have to ratify the collective agreement. The way we're going to proceed with that, we're under this crazy period. Nobody was prepared to go through this pandemic, but I can tell you that I'm really proud of our staff, and we will run some ratification vote. We're going to do it. We do it with IntelliVote. We're going to do it with internet. We're going to do it with telephone. So we won't wait that our people are back inside the office to run the ratification vote. It's going to be done from now till the end of September. Everybody is going to have a chance to vote. And after that, I really think we're going to have a deal because your team did a fantastic job. The same thing with PA. So as soon as this agreement is ratified, Treasury Board committed to us to run and to pay as fast as they can. So I'm hoping, to be honest with you, I think before the end of 2020, everybody will receive their compensation and will see the adjustment on their paycheck before the end of this current year.
Members were hoping that it would be as fast as the CERB payments.
That should be at the same time. This is what we're asked. This is the way we negotiated. And to be honest with you, I think everybody knows how many dollars are going out of Treasury Board right now and from the federal government. And on their side, and for sure on our side, we want to make sure that people will receive their money in 2020. And this is what they said to us. They cannot commit in writing, but what we heard so far, so they want all those amounts to be paid before the end of this year.
Now, that's for the contract ratification. What about Phoenix? What's next for Phoenix compensation? Does anything need to be ratified with that? It's already been ratified. People need to understand that when PSAC decided to go out of this common table with all the other bargaining agents, everybody's going to remember that in June last year, the 16 other bargaining agents on the Treasury Board were 17 bargaining agents, and 16 other bargaining agents decided to accept the 5 days of vacation that was offered by Treasury Board. The only union who said, no way, we won't accept that. It's not fair. Absolutely not fair, because people has to understand that 5 days of vacation, cashable days. So if your annual income is $45,000, our members would have received 5 days based on $45,000 annual pay. And your colleague sitting right beside you, who's making $80,000 a year, would have received 5 days based on $80,000 a year, which is completely unfair. We're talking about the same damages. We're talking about the same stress, maybe even more stress for the people who are making less money. So there were no way that PSCC would agree with that. So that's why we said no. And now that we agreed with $2,500, the same amount for everyone, nobody's going to be penalized with that, because the highest salary that we've got under PSAC, it's an AS7, I think, and it's close to $120,000 a year. And this $2,500 still correspond to 5 days of vacation for those people. And now we have the fact that we also negotiate the fact that it has to be non-taxable. So it's a win for everyone.
So I can tell you that when we decided to walk away from this table, we say we're going to bring the negotiation of Phoenix at the same place, at the table under PA. But it's not in the collective agreement of the PA group, PA table. So the way it works, so we brought that there, but we said when it's going to be the time to ratify it, it's a decision of the NBOD, the National Board of Directors of PSAC. And when finally the negotiation was done 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, time flies, the team brought up to the NBOD, and you're president of your component, UTE, Marc, that you're going to hear later, and all the National Board of Directors unanimously agreed. So it's already been ratified. So when we talk about Phoenix damages, it's not something that we continue to ratify or to negotiate. It's already been done by the NBOD of PSAC. So no more discussion about that. Treasury Board is waiting for the analysis or for just from CRA to confirm the fact that it's non-taxable. So it should be done within the next week. And we are expecting them, we hope to receive the answer from CRA in August. So Treasury Board will be ready to pay everyone, even CRA, because also what is important to tell you tonight, that this payment won't come from CRA, won't come from any other agency. The fiasco of Phoenix, who decided to move on with Phoenix, is Treasury Board. So no agency will have to look inside their own budget to compensate their staff. It's Treasury Board who committed, it's done, to pay all the agency $2,500 to everyone. This is really important. So that's why we ratified it. We're proud of that, and we don't have any doubt that everyone will receive this amount. And like I said earlier, we're pushing hard to make sure that those payments are going to be made before the end of this current year. And so far, what we are hearing from Treasury Board, that they think they can do it, and they don't see any reason why they won't be able to pay those compensation before the end of 2020.
Thank you. So it sounds like Phoenix compensation should be rolled out by September for everyone. It sounds like reasonable.
Yeah, I don't want to create false expectation, Nicholas. We are still waiting. I really think that it's possible. I sincerely think it is, but we have to wait for CRA. What we heard, like I said, it's something administrative. It should be really easy. You just have to send out to say, yes, it's true. It's not non-taxable. There's no reason. We've got precedent. We did our own work, I can tell you that, and we paid a lot of attention of the wording. So there's no reason on our side to be stressed about that. And to be honest with you, it was not really hard to negotiate that with Treasury Board, because they were in the same place as us. They also think that this compensation should be tax-free. So it was not a big fight with them, which is good. I have to be honest and sincere. This is the way it works. So our people did a fantastic job. The board ratified it unanimously. So I agree with you. September should be, they should have enough time to do that. So we're going to put a little bit of pressure on CRA to make sure that they send us the notice saying, yes, you did the correct job. It's tax-free. And as soon as we receive that, Treasury Board will be ready to pay everyone. But I still gonna say before the end of 2020, just to make sure that people don't put too much money on their credit card for September.
Thank you. For those of you who are just joining us, we're speaking with Sister Magali Picard, the National Vice President of the Public Service Alliance of Canada. If you can just hit the
microphone and is doing her best to speak to you in English tonight. I hope it's clear. And Nicholas, I'm counting on you to help me if it's not clear.
Yes, it's very clear, very clear. If you can hit the share button, and presently we have just over 300 viewers logged in tonight. So thank you very much for joining us on this brief impromptu with short notice. We really appreciate it. I thought it was something that we needed to do. A lot of questions were coming in, a lot of excitement. So it's very important in this age that you use technology and bring everyone together, and provide that opportunity for everyone to be able to share. If you have a question, you can post it in the chat box, in any of the chat box on either Facebook or on YouTube. You could post your questions there and we'll put it up on the screen. So far we've heard that members will receive up to $2,500 compensation for the Phoenix payroll system, beginning in 2016 and continuing in 2020. You just have to work one day for any part of the year to receive the portion of the compensation, starting with $1,000 for 2016 and $500 for the accompanying years. So up to $2,500. You don't have to do anything. It'll be automatic. 1 second.
Where are you, Nicholas? And for the people who are retired now, they will be allowed for every year, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, if they work 1 year. So for somebody who is at his retirement since 18, will be entitled for 1,000 for 16, 500 for 17, 500 for 18, which represent like $2,000. So yeah, so this is what we've got right now. People are asking us, what about 2021? Because we have to be honest, we're still under Phoenix, and it's not tomorrow that they're going to change the system. And we still have thousands of members who are under Phoenix with a lot of problems. So don't worry, we will continue our negotiation with Treasury Board for the year after. But so far, and we're really pleased of that. It's way better than what we been offered a year ago, which I'm just saying because people need to do the comparison. We've looked at that. So for 5 years, our members, the average salaries of a PSAC member, it's $55,000 a year, and 5 days of vacation taxable. It was around $1,200 less if you ask to be paid, less the tax. It was like $750 or $800. Now we're talking about $2,500 non-taxable, which is where I cannot tell you how much I'm proud of that. It's not because we don't deserve it. And people are telling me, even the one who's not been hit directly, you know what? I cannot tell you the numbers of members who told me, you know what, Magali? I had the chance to apply for a better job, for a job closer to my house. And I was so afraid to change something. So I decided to, you know what? I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid to have problem under Phoenix. All those other members who said, I pushed back my retirement and I didn't take any acting because I was afraid to change my paycheck. I'm telling you, thousands. Chris and I did the tour of the country last year. We talked to thousands of members across this country, and people were so afraid, and they were telling us that it was crazy how much they were afraid, and they really decided to penalize themselves. Don't go with usually, I'm taking the summer off, and so I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm really afraid to be hit by Phoenix. So hold that. It's unbelievable in 2020. So that's the reason why and I'm seeing a question, just to be clear, those that already received 5 days of vacation will not receive. Absolutely. Thank you, sister. Thank you, Sandra. No. So you all know the 16 other bargaining agents signed a Me Too clause. I'm going to be polite here because we are on Facebook and I know that it's going to go everywhere. But I'm going to be honest because this is who I am. I was so angry, so pissed, because I don't think that the labor movement should do something like that. We should have stick together.
Shameful.
It's unbelievable. And I see you, Nicholas, and I know that you're
They were shameful.
Shameful. And no, the members, not the members, but the workers under the other bargaining agent, they won't be entitled to this $2,500. If they already receive an amount, their union will have to fight to receive the difference between what they receive and this $2,500. But also, the way we negotiate that, it's $1,500 for Phoenix, and the balance is because of the delay to implement the collective agreement. So what the other bargaining agent should be, and I'm not their representative, they will have to do their lobby in front of the government, but it's not $2,500. It's the difference between what they receive and $1,500. So, and we didn't do that in purpose because we want to say too bad, so sad, but this is the way it's written right now. So no, I thank you, Sandra, for that. I received this question already more than once. So it's not what they receive 5 days of vacation plus 2,500. Absolutely not. So just to make sure, only our members going to be entitled for $2,500. The want to work for the first 4 years, and it's not going to be the same for the other bargaining agent.
Thank you very much. Sister Picard, I want to thank you for coming on here. I promised it would be 10 minutes, and it's about 30 minutes. So I'm going to let you go. I could see you turning away every now and then to look at your guests. So I want to thank you for joining us this evening, taking time, valued time away from your family to join your union family.
That's my union family. I agree.
It's certainly, very important for us to come together. And thank you for taking the time to share with us this evening. And we'll continue to, any few words to the over 300 people that's watching tonight?
I really want to thank them. I never been as proud to be a PSAC leader. Everywhere where I'm going, people are telling me it's amazing what your people did. Nobody thought that they would receive this emergency payment as quick as the way it was managed by you guys. When they asked for volunteer to help during this pandemic, they were expecting 300 or 400 members to raise their hand. We've got over 4,000 of people who say, I'm ready to help, even if it's not my job. I'm amazed. I'm amazed by what you've did. I'm amazed by the fact that you're still there. You didn't have any collective agreements since, like you said, over 3 years, almost 4 years, and people are so committed, never been so proud. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. Again, thank you. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you to your negotiation team. Thank you to your component. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be with you tonight. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Sister Magali Picard, the National Vice President for the Public Service Alliance of Canada. And she's spoken, she came on tonight to tell us about Phoenix, talk to us about Phoenix, explain what those, the benefits that's coming down. So stay tuned for more on that. And I just want to thank Sister Picard again for sharing with us tonight. I'm going to move along. So if you're just joining us, please hit the share button and share so that we could have a wide distribution of this. And please post your comments in the comment box, your questions in the comments box so that we could bring them up on the screen tonight. And we're going to go into the contract, what most of you came here today for. So thousands of members, including those at the call center. And this is why this is a historic, very historic contract. Thousands of members, including those at the call center, will become permanent at the signing of this contract. This clause would grant temporary workers with indeterminate status, so permanent, when they reach 3 years of continuous service. Now that is what job security looks like. You can now face the bank for a mortgage. And I'm going to be mentioning call center workers because they're most affected by, all of what's happening with contract and working conditions. And call center workers will now get a much needed 5 minutes break every 1 hour worked. And for those of you who have never worked in a call center, please know that this goes a very long way in addressing mental health and giving you those few minutes to take a pause. On wages, our bargaining team secured a 2.07% average yearly increase over a 5-year period. from 2016 to 2020. Joining me tonight is the brother whose stellar leadership brought us this victory. Brother Adam Jackson is the second National Vice President for Bargaining at the Union of Taxation Employees. And Brother Jackson's dedication and commitment in securing this contract was next to none. As a matter of fact, one of his colleagues, I was looking on social media, and one of his colleagues, he said this of Adam, and I'm quoting here, I wrote it down. He said, "Adam, you are a thoughtful leader, delegating when needed, keeping us focused, showing us solidarity. You made sure everything we did was for the membership. Was so proud to be by your side with the rest of the team." And that was from Jamie Van Seidenberg. I thought that was really thoughtful. Just before we bring Adam on, we have our national president, Brother Marc Briere. He's joining us as well tonight. And I'm going to bring on Brother Briere, and we're going to just talk a little bit about what this contract means. And he's going to be available. He's made himself available. He did get a waiver from his partner to be here tonight. It wasn't looking too good, but Brother Briere, you made it.
Yeah, hello, Nicholas. Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to be with you tonight, to join you tonight. Yeah, I had a tough negotiation with my boss, my spouse, and we've been on vacation for a week, but I've been dealing with bargaining for a week, so I'm able to escape tonight a little bit, one more night. Look, as you mentioned before, it is historical. In so many ways. Before talking about, I know you've asked me to talk about the conversion of term employees to permanent status. Brother Jackson is in charge of our bargaining, so he will talk mostly about the bargaining, the questions. I'll stay around to, if you have any questions for me. I want to just touch base on a few things. First, Magali mentioned about the Phoenix damages. I've, as the rest of the National Board of Directors, I've reviewed the original agreement signed by Treasury Board and PSAC. We signed a parallel agreement, which is the same in all aspects. Ours is fairly simple. We just had to review to make sure we had the same thing. I reviewed the agreement thoroughly, and I also believe that it's going to be non-taxable. I mean, I can't promise it because CRA, like the LEPRAB, people will have to deal with that. But the way it's been worded by their lawyers makes a lot of sense. It's for damages. It's not like for the job you're doing every day, like you pay. It's for damages because of that damn system that's screwing people's life for 4 years. The only thing that I would have loved is to have this going on until Phoenix is replaced, to put more pressure, to have it like ongoing, and not only for 4 years, but we can get everything from the government, so we got the best we could. I am proud. I will stay polite, but I can tell you that it's very hard to remain polite when it comes to Phoenix, because Magali is right. The other unions just dump us. They show no solidarity, and I think it's shameful, and I'm still very pissed off about it. So I guess I'm going to keep it at that, because then I may say things I may regret. So I'm proud that the PSAC and its components, including UTE, stood up to the government, and we got something that's much better. And if it's non-taxable, it's a lot of money compared to 5 little days of paid leave. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And I can tell you that I didn't lose any time. I've talked to the head of HR, Dan Couture, and and Marc Bellavance, the negotiator, the guy who negotiated the contract with our team, about the Phoenix damages. Even though we need to wait for Treasury Board, the CRA is already starting to prepare to manage these payments. So there's instructions been given to the compensation people, our compensation advisors, and as you know, the CRA, I'll give them that, have been more efficient than the rest of the federal public service, that the people in the other department, PSPC. So I expect that our members could be paid even before the rest of the federal public service, the money owed for the Phoenix damages. So that's that on the Phoenix damages. I cannot thank enough the bargaining team, Brother Jackson, and you may mention it tonight, but Adam has been going through some, difficult times. The brother has stood up like big time, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for this. It's been an ordeal. It's been too long. We were talking to a rock for a few years, and you can't get water out of a rock. So we had a problem, and one of the main problems people need to be reminded that we are not dealing only with CRA. When we negotiate with CRA, but they need to go and beg their mandate to bargain from Treasury Board. And we didn't used to deal with that in the early 2000s, and that's why in 2007 and 2010 we had back-to-back agreements before the expiry of the previous agreements. This is very important for the people who joined CRA, recently and are not aware of that. Our union is able to negotiate deals fast.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you need to be two to dance the damn tango, and we've been dancing alone for too long. So maybe one of the future campaigns that we may have to think seriously about is to lobby the MPs at the House of Commons to try to change get them to change the CRA Act again and reverse the actions taken by Harper in 2012 to basically force CRA to get its mandate from Treasury Board. And he did that because we did better than the other bargaining units like in the past. So all that to say that the bargaining team was committed. We had a lot of demands, but these demands were brought by the members. I think that these demands were all very important. It's nice to have a deal, quick, but to have a quick deal, everybody can do that. But to have a good deal is a different story. And we had to deal with CRA, and we had a lot of issues with CRA for the call center people, like for the terms, obviously, scheduling of shifts, all types of compensation, all type of working conditions. And the wages obviously were, it's very important to everybody. And since that we don't have the accumulation of severance anymore, we need to make sure that we get at least the cost of living for our members. And we achieved that. So I'm going to let Adam talk more about the bargaining, but I want to thank Adam, Jimmy Van Seimenberg, the co-chair of our committee also, National Committee, and the rest of the bargaining team, and of course our negotiator, Morgan Gay from PSAC. And Pierre Samuel, the person who was with him from PSAC doing all the research and the comparison game with CRA and Treasury Board. They did a fabulous job, and I want to thank them for the job they did. And it's been difficult for everybody. I'm a little tired. I had like 3 hours of sleep last night. It ended up in the morning, but it's for a good cause. But also I need to mention that it's also greatly due to our locals and first and foremost to our members that we've been able to achieve this deal. The team has been doing a tremendous work. They were perseverant. They hold on to the employer, but the members displayed a tremendous support. The strike votes were very important because it showed to the employer that we had an amazing support, like an unprecedented support from the membership, and our members delivered big time. The members delivered before, but during the pandemic, it was like it blew away the employer. And the commissioner, I told him many times, I said, you cannot tell me that these people are not delivering big time like you've never seen, and they deserve to be treated with respect, and they deserve a contract, and they deserve it now. So, and we pounded on the MPs, we pounded on the minister, on our minister, on the Prime Minister's office. Chris Elward, the national president of PSAC, did as well. So it was a collective, effort. The team delivered, we pushed, but the members were behind us, and we'll never say it enough. Solidarity is so important, so crucial, because we had an army of 28,000 people, working, but also delivering and for Canadians and for this government. But at the same time, people were supporting the union and they were demanding a contract. And the employer knew that we were speaking on behalf of our members. So I just want to thank Adam, the team, our locals, and the members for their support. It's very important. So it's great that we have achieved this. It took too long, but at least we got a great deal, I believe. And I think that we did very well given the circumstances. And finally, the employer has recognized the work done by our members. So now I guess, Nicholas, unless you want me to answer a few questions, I guess you want me to jump on the conversion of terms.
Right. And just before you do that, if you could answer this question here from Bob, if there's any indication of what kind of application retirees will have to make for the Phoenix compensation.
I don't know, to be honest, the details. PSAC is the one working on it with Treasury Board. The same will apply to everybody within the government. There'll be some type of form to fill, but that's why there's some details been worked out. So the PSAC will publish on their website and publicize everywhere on their social media as well, how to apply to for the retirees to get the money. And UTE will take the same message and publish it everywhere. So I can't tell you, but it'd be a form. Like, it's not automatic because you're retired. So you need to fill it out. But for the employees that are the current employees, it's going to be automatic. Like, they're going to check that you were on the on strength for at least one day for each year. But for the retirees, there'll be a process. But I think it's going to be fairly simple, to be honest.
Okay. Well, Brother Briere, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm just going to take you backstage, and we're going to bring out Adam Jackson.
Do you want me to talk about the conversion of terms?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I'll do that quick, okay? And then I'll let Adam jump in. The conversion of terms, you need to understand that it is part of the staffing program of the CRA. So the CRA has refused systematically, not only during this round of bargaining, but in the previous round of bargaining, to discuss it at the bargaining table. After the last round, we had a joint committee to look at issues related to staffing, including the conversion of terms. Unfortunately, the employer didn't come around really seriously to discuss this and to make changes. They also reviewed their staffing program, and again, we wanted this to happen, and with other recommendations as well regarding the recourses and other things that were not, approved by the CRA Board of Management. So we decided to push it at the bargaining table, and we wanted to discuss this very important issue at the bargaining table. But the employer refused to discuss it in bargaining because technically it is a staffing issue. CRA has a staffing program, and they have sole control over it, per se, as per the CRA Act. And that's one of the main reasons why Revenue Canada became an agency in 1999. It's to basically have a better control over their staffing program. So given the circumstances, we saw that there was no way that we could discuss it at the bargaining table. So I went ahead and I had discussions with the commissioner of the CRA, Bob Hamilton. I can say that I literally harassed the poor man for 3 years to get the conversion changed from 5 to 3 years. So for those who are not maybe familiar with this, when before the CRA, Revenue Canada had a conversion policy for the terms, it was taken away when we became an agency. In 2007, when we signed an agreement, we, after fighting fiercely to get it back, and even a strike that was a lot for the terms in 2004, we got the CRA to create a policy for the conversion of terms, the administrative conversion of terms after 5 years of service, whereas the rest of the public service, the other departments and agencies have it after 3 years. So we fought for this, and then in the last year, we increased the pressure, and we made it basically a condition to sign an agreement. So at the end, last night, the last thing that was dealt was the conversion of terms and to get the change approved by the commissioner. And it was like, shortly after midnight that I got that deal approved between myself and the commissioner. And then the bargaining team was good to go to approve, to agree to the rest of the agreement for a collective agreement. Now, so it's very simple. If people want to have a look, they can go in the staffing program under section 5.5.4, which is called 5-year administrative conversion. And at 4 different spots, it talks about 5-year for a term to be converted to a permanent position if they have 5 years of continuous service. That 5-year will be changed to 3 years. Everything else remains the same. So there's no other changes than that. Now, the only other matter that remains, I'm going to give you a scoop tonight, is the effective date. We had long discussion last night that delayed the deal on the effective date. So the CRA wanted to, I guess, have a transition period that is fairly long that would have brought us in 2021, and I refused that. So the agreement that I have with the commissioner is to have the effective date that we will continue the discussion between CRA and UTE, but the effective date will be between the date of the signing of the collective agreement. So the members approve the agreement, the tentative agreement, we ratify it, we sign the collective agreement. That could be the sooner that we could have the effective date for the that change to the policy on the conversion of terms. The furthest it could be, so the latest it will be, is December 1st of this year. So we're going to work on the wording of the memorandum of agreement in the next days. So when we'll be ready to sign that, just prior to signing the tentative agreement, so it will say there that the discussion will continue over the next weeks, and then we'll agree on a date. And so it's going to be like probably between, I would say, early September to December 1st, most than likely.
Brother Briere, we have some questions here.
Yeah.
Very interesting questions. One from Richard. How will the conversion work for those terms from Arnie who are on call site jobs? So, for example, if I've accepted a contract to work in Arnie, and my conversion is next month, where will I convert?
Well, I did not discuss that with the commissioner, but my understanding would be that it's their substantive, so it would be with their Arnie position. And people need to remember also that the people working from Arnie to the call centers is a temporary measure,
Right.
and on a voluntary basis, and a member can just anytime say, okay, I'm done, I want to go back to my position. So they can do, like, the members can go back to their original position. So it is a temporary lateral move, basically, and people can come back before. The employer needed that, and we worked with them, and I really want to thank the members who accepted to do it. But at the end of the day, they'll go back to the position, and I know they have a contract, like a TLM for X amount of time, but it's quite possible that they might even come back before what they signed for. If the employer can kickstart the collection activities, they will go back to the position sooner. So to give you a clear answer, I believe it will be under their substantive position, which would be Arnie.
And that's what we're hearing also from a member of the bargaining team, that would be the case. The employer has already shared with us too that under the present arrangement, outside of any contract negotiations, that those workers will be able to convert in their substantive position.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's another question posted here from the sister from Hamilton, Sister Ingrid. I'm just looking for it.
Sister Rhythms?
Correct, yes. Here it is. She says, will they still be able to put a moratorium on term conversions? So, for example, if thousands of workers are just scheduled to convert when this is signed, can a moratorium be put in place?
Yeah, unfortunately, the answer is yes. The only change, I'll be very clear, it's very simple. The only change that's going to happen is the conversion of terms will only take 3 years instead of 5 years. It needs to be continuous service. So if there's a break in service in more than 30 days, it's going to be the same situation. Every department and agencies of the federal government have a provision about a moratorium to freeze the period of like a continuous service, and it's there, and we will never, like, look, I'm a fighter, Adam is a fighter, the bargaining team is like fighters, but you cannot get the impossible. This will not be included in the bargaining agreement ever by the federal government, and they will never agree to take away that provision for the moratorium, because if there's a, like right now, like budgetary problems, huge problems, like a war, like something major, they want to have the flexibility to protect themselves and the financial burden that they may have to face, including having more people being converted to a permanent status, which could bring maybe more workforce adjustment situation. So even though we would argue with them for until the end of times, we will never get that out of there. And that's why it's a policy. And the employer could have changed that policy any day of the week that the Edmonton would like. But they did not want to change it, and we fought for it, and we put tons of pressure, and we made the case that our members, our term members, should not be treated any differently than members that are terms in other departments and agencies. And the agency, at the end of the day, agreed with us, but it needed to be like a long fight, and we needed to tag it with the bargaining, the negotiations on our collective agreement to apply pressure to get this change, because if not, we weren't getting it. And we've applied pressure for years, and it's been long coming. And I can tell you tonight, I have a beer next to me, so I'm not drinking it right now, but I had a glass of cognac. I opened a bottle of cognac for the first time in a few years, and I don't drink cognac unless it's a great occasion. I can tell you, today is a day of celebration. It is a major accomplishment that the bargaining team did. We have above cost of living for wage increases. I mean, we've got the terms conversion. We've got the call center people being treated with more respect. I worked in the call center, by the way, in Toronto in the early 1990s on Yonge Street for 5 months. And I can tell you, 5 months seemed to be long, and I had a hard time to cope. Probably it's because I talked for too long and I can't have a 3-minute conversation. That's probably why. But I know how people in call center feels.
Brother Briere, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting a little bit of heat from our YouTube audience, so we're going to take a question from YouTube.
Sure.
When will past CRA employees be paid these amounts from the new contract? Is there an estimated time?
No, like we've got in the contract, and Adam could take that question too. There's a specific deadline that's been negotiated in the contract for the current employees. So the previous employees, the past employees will be treated in the same manner, I would say, than the current employees. So they won't be getting the money sooner. So I'm not quite sure. Adam is better positioned than me to answer the deadline, but it's for sure it will take months. But all I can say is I'm going to give one thing to CRA. They process payments in compensation faster than anybody else in the federal public service. And I believe that the deadline that's been set in the collective agreement, the signing of the agreement, will be respected by CRA. I've got no indication that it won't be able to respect it. So, make it 4 months maybe. Hopefully sooner than that, 4 or 5 months. It's possible. It's a lot of calculations for a lot of years, unfortunately. So we want to get the calculations right and not have the job has to be well done. So it's going to take some time. But, I think that's going to be done as fast as possible. And I can tell you, I make one commitment to the members and the previous members as national president. I will follow up closely with CRA on a regular basis to see where they're at in processing the payments, just like we did with the previous payments that we received the last time around.
Brother Briere, my producers are telling me that we're out of time for your segment, so I want to take you backstage, and we're going to bring on Brother Jackson, who's going to tell us what all of this means and what we can look forward to. And Brother Jackson, I want to welcome you tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us and to share with members the exciting news that we received this morning and to answer some questions from the membership. I know it's been exceptionally difficult, a difficult time for you. So we want to honor you this evening. We want to, show appreciation and respect. For those of you who are not aware, Adam, who is the National Vice President for Bargaining at the Union of Taxation Employees, his lifetime partner passed away, I believe, when bargaining just started or when it was about to start. And it was an exceptionally trying time for Brother Jackson and the union and Brother Briere and Brother Jamie and others, who were there to provide support for him. It being able to continue with negotiations and to deliver such a historic contract. I can't begin to express this, how much strength and courage that may have taken. So tonight we want to honor, you, Brother Jackson. And before you begin sharing, I want to take just a minute of silence to honor your partner, your former partner, Isabel. And I see Stella is with us today too, little Stella. Welcome, Stella. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. So if we could just start right now for 1 minute, a minute of silence to honor Isabel. Thank you very much, everyone, for spending that time to honor Brother Jackson's lifetime partner. It's very important. I can't emphasize how much of a trying time that this would have been. And Brother Jackson, you've stood there. You've stood brave. You've mustered up the courage, and you walked into those bargaining sessions day after day after day, and you've delivered the best contract that UTE has ever seen. So tell us what. Go ahead and unmute yourself and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas, and thanks for organizing this. It's a great idea. And you'll hear Stella in the background. I apologize for that, but she's close to bedtime and getting definitely rambunctious. So, but she's very intrigued by this, and she just said hi, Nicholas. So, first and foremost, thank you very much. I won't tie you up with your with the emotions here for sure, but that's an amazing tribute, and that will never be lost on me. Nor will the support of my union, and I think that speaks volumes to what a union is. First of all, a union is a family. You may not see it in your daily lives, but I'm telling you, when you're an elected officer of this union, you become part of a very special circle. We take care of our own, that's for sure. Anyway, enough about that. Okay, look, we got you some money. We got you, on average 2.07. So basically, without compounding, you're at 10% over 5 years or just over. You're getting $500 for the implementation of the contract, because that will take. I think it's actually, you asked that question, and I don't have documents up in front of me. And frankly, I'll back up a little bit and say that I'm so tired right now that I don't even know when. I don't even know what sleep is, to be honest. So I'm gonna get some of that tonight. But I think it was 180 days we put for implementation. And in fact, the employer chalked up $500 for that. So you're going to get $500 because it's going to take a bit. If you remember from the last round, it actually didn't take them the full amount, but that's there. We also got a signing bonus in the last year, or sorry, not the last year, but we got a signing bonus of $400. You got the Phoenix stuff that's not part of the contract, that's for sure, but you got more bucks. So on the money, which is not certainly the be-all and end-all of it, I think we did pretty damn well. We went right until, gosh, it must have been 11:30 midnight last night, and for good reason. We pushed the envelope and pushed, and I want to talk about that before we get into the nitty gritty here. The only reason we have this contract, the only reason we got this money, and the only reason we got the stuff in there is literally because of membership. When we asked to put signs up, and you might think that's that doesn't work. That stuff works. That stuff did work. We faced adversity all the way through this. We faced an election, and as I've said elsewhere on Facebook, I've got the emails from people. Settle now, because we're going to get a conservative government. You must get this done, et cetera, et cetera. And we wanted to get it done, but we knew that we were going to get what you deserved. And that was money, and it was provisions in the collective agreement. We also set out at the very beginning to have no concessions. And it's a bold inspiration, put it that way, where you give up nothing. And we didn't give up anything. Anything that was in that collective agreement is still there. Save, I think, one thing, and it wasn't a concession. It was more a provision for when PIP's employees come over to UTE, they can't carry their vacation, that kind of stuff. So that doesn't take anything away from our members. We lost nothing. So it was a very long bargaining sessions. We understand your frustration all through it, honestly, but you know what you did is you came through. There is no way that the people at the bargaining table, and I tell you, this team is stellar. You would not want anybody else on a bargaining team. These folks were absolutely rock solid. Never once wavered from principle. Never once wavered from getting the best we could for the membership. And we don't get a commission for it. We don't get extra days. We don't get anything for it. We live and die by the same contract that you do. So the inspiration there was the membership and membership only. But what happened was that you rallied behind us when we needed to. We had impasses. We had an election. We had the PIC report. We had every single hurdle thrown at us, and frankly, every time we won. And now here we are. So thank you very much for every activist. A little bit, an email here or there, an email to the minister, a sticker or a T-shirt. It all helps. It all creates visibility, and it shows the boss that we mean business, and we came through. So we have there. I mean, you've got a list of the achievements we made that has been published for sure. We can go through it line by line. I wouldn't suggest we do. And I certainly don't want to interfere on something like the ratification package that the PSAC will be putting together too. But I encourage you to look at the list of the stuff we've got. As Nicholas or both Marc and Nicholas said, we got some call center provisions, a 5-minute break, or not a break, but a 5-minute off the phone for call center agents. And as Nicholas said, it's all about mental health. We set out looking at work-life balance here. We set out with those priorities to make sure that call center employees were taken care of for something that was lacking so long. Scheduling as well, that it would be on an equitable basis, that it wouldn't just be the boss's friend or you're working the shift because we want you to. This was going to be done equitably. Other provisions such as adding family members to the family related and bereavement leave, lifting the cap on family related for school appointments, all little tiny things, but these are all achievements. These are all steps. Nothing was given away, and all we did was build on this foundation. And as you'll see by the date on the contract, we're going to be back at this in a year and a bit. So we just got to keep building. But this is the perfect example of what we can achieve when we get numbers of people behind us saying enough is enough. Let's get it done, and understand that the holdup usually isn't the folks who are representing you. Okay, that's not the holdup. So you came through. We did a great job. There is nothing not to be proud of here. And I say that to you as a member. You're the one who did this. All we are is the administrators, and we just sit at the table and we push paper back and forth and we try to get you what you can. But we can't do it without you, and you showed up. So thank you.
There's let's go to some of the questions here, Adam. There's quite a few that have been posted, and there's a lot of uncertainty with regards to payment on this. And Teresa is asking, how can we ensure that retro pay will be correct, given that we're still under Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Typically, Well, I know only as a past auditor, spreadsheets would pass around the workplace very quickly as soon as this was done, compounding and figuring out what it is. I think from the last time, and I don't know the administration of it. That's certainly outside of my bailiwick here. But basically, if I recall from the last time, they actually sent you a detailed list of what money came in for what years. So it did happen. I don't know. There is recourse for not being paid correctly, but how do you find out? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I can certainly, if Marc's still on, we can take a look and ask the question. That's the best I can assure you. But fair question. But we don't administer the pay system, unfortunately. But we'll look.
Let's bring Brother Briere back on quickly to take a shot at that question. Brother Briere, tell us, people are worried. Will we get paid properly with Phoenix?
To be honest with you, I'm not worried. I am not worried. The last time around, it went well. Sometimes it takes a bit more time because of actings and, a more complex case for the compensation centers. I gotta say that the people at the CRE compensation our members are, as Adam would say, are stellar. They work well. They know their stuff. Don't forget, people tend to forget that a lot of things are calculated by the CAS system. So our members work in conjunction with CAS and Phoenix. It's only the final stages of the pay that's done with Phoenix, and that's why we've got less problems at the CRE. Don't get me wrong, we got problems, but we got less problems. And the last time around, they didn't encounter any major issues. I don't see why it'd be different this time. Look, I will be the watchdog of this, but I would tell you if I'd be worried. I am not worried at all.
Thank you, Brother Briere. So there you have it. Teresa, Brother Briere said he's not worried at all about being properly paid because we're operating under the CAS system. A big part of how we're paid is through the corporate administrative system. I believe that's the formal. There's a question here about different about short-term disability. And Sharon is asking if a member was on short-term disability anytime during the past 3 years with Sun Life, will Sun Life be responsible for paying the difference? How would that work if somebody who is away from the workplace? How would that work, Adam?
Yeah, I'm not going to win any friends here tonight. I hate to keep saying this, but yeah, that again, way above my pay grade. But I'm trying to look at if a member was on short-term disability anytime during these past years, will Sun Life be responsible for the pay difference? I don't know what happens with Sun Life. That's outside of the collective agreement. I've been unfortunately, very narrow-minded and focused on one thing. That's my portfolio. So I don't know if Sun Life answers at all. To be perfectly frank, I don't know if Marc does. Again, we can send an email up to the PSAC. They deal with dealing with Sun Life, etc. But
okay,
I don't know if Marc there.
We're gonna bring on Brother Briere again.
Jeez, 3 questions. Okay, this one is a good one. I don't want to give an answer that I'm not 100% sure. For sure, if somebody is not paid by CRA for a period of time, that's going to have an impact on the retroactive payments and the calculations. It's going to make it like a more complex cases. But I'm not sure. Like I don't for sure. Well, look, Sun Life will pay, let's say, like up to 70% of somebody's pay. If the pay is higher, I guess the payment with Sun Life should normally logically be higher too. So I would say it could have an impact. But to be honest with you, I think we should check with our compensation advisors at the CRE. We got members doing compensation that would be a lot better than me to give you an answer. So we can find the answer. So we just need to take note of that question and come back and give the answer. But I'm not 100% sure. But for sure, it ain't going to be only CRE. It would have to be dealt with Sun Life as well during that period of time.
It is indeed a very complicated question. So Sharon, hopefully that brings more perspective to your question. Thank you very much. We're going to go to YouTube for this question here. And Clint is asking, when will the ratification vote be? And will it be online? I think part of that question was already answered by Sister Picard earlier on. So there'll be, go ahead, Brother Jackson.
Yeah, so given honestly that we settled it last night, all I can say is that the ratification vote will be as soon as possible. And we are looking at every single option. It will be the PSAC that handles that, not the UTE, but we will have our input. We do have a committee set up that will look at these things. So as damn soon as possible, we want the money in your pocket. So you can rest assured that if it can be done, it will be done ASAP.
All right. And we're getting another inquiry here. Was concessions made on our sick leave?
See, I love these questions. Absolutely not and never. Thank you.
That was a short and sharp answer. Absolutely never are we going to make a concession on our sick leave. We're getting another question here from, similar to the previous question, if someone was on WSIB or other provincial workers' comp in the last few years, will the difference be paid by workers' comp or CRA? So I think that question falls within the same scope of the previous answer. It is, as Brother Briere said, it's a very complicated answer. So we're not going to try to delve into answering the complexities or guessing on that and set an expectation that is unrealistic. So thank you for that question, Stephanie. It is, thank you for that question. And to YouTube, according to present moment, this contract is very quiet on pensions. Was there any discussions about pensions and the cost of living or changes around the pension?
Yeah, so not just this contract, but any contract you'll see is signed on this because it's covered by different legislation. It's not negotiable under the collective agreement. So that's a separate body that negotiates the pension and the cost of living increases, et cetera. So, or the indexing. So it's not part of a collective agreement, and I can't imagine it ever will be. Not in the public service anyway.
Okay. The next question is compensation. It's about compensation. Compensation workers at the PA received a retention allowance of $3,500. Will CRA compensation workers also receive this?
Okay, so the short answer is no, but let me explain why. The CRA had no interest in pursuing this for several reasons, and I'll explain it. I'm not justifying them, but this was not something that they were going to budge on. The CRA compensation advisors make a bit more than the PA workers. That's actually a fact. But the PA group actually has a retention issue. The CRA says they do not have a retention issue at all. In fact, they are getting lists of compensation advisors from the other group who want to come here and work. Similarly, because of the salary, and I know that's probably not a satisfactory answer, but the silver lining in that one is it means we're doing something right by making sure you're being paid more. Now there is an MOU outside of that, outside of the collective agreement that was signed, and that was continued. And I don't know what that is, not being in the collective agreement, but there is something there, but it's not this retention allowance at all.
Okay. Let's go over to Facebook. And if currently on extended maternity or parental leave, will top-up be paid for the full period of the new leave provision? Currently, the top-up pay stops after 52 weeks.
I was just reading it as well. No, it doesn't extend that to the. I think what they're talking about is when you can go from 52 to 70 something.
Right.
Right. So it doesn't top up past that.
Okay.
And that would be something whenever something like that did happen, you would see it literally everywhere in the public service. It's we wish we could do it, but no.
All right. We're going to go back to YouTube, and Clint is asking, was any improvements made to prescription glasses amount? Now, I know this is separate for these benefits, they're negotiated separately. Explain that process, and if you could answer that in that question.
Yeah, so the Public Service Healthcare Plan, PSHCP, is negotiated by several groups of people across the broader public service, including somebody at the PSAC would sit on that National Joint Committee, I believe it's called. And in any case, that's how they negotiate the different amounts. There have been improvements in the past. Again, it's certainly not my portfolio, but that's where it's done. And I know for a fact that they always try to build it up, but it's certainly not contained within the collective agreement. No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's go over to Tom. Tom here has been asking a question. Why a 5th year in the contract, and why only 1.35% for that 5th year? I mean, look around what's happening in 2020, Tom. But I'm going to pass that over to you. We're certainly in very difficult economic times. So,
yeah, that is probably a reason. You'd have to ask the Treasury Board themselves what the reason is. What I can tell you is that we spent close to, I don't think I'd be wrong by saying 18 hours trying to get that bumped up to 1.5. And what we got, in fact, so we were looking for that an extra 0.15%, for example. But they were looking at what the PA group got. I mean, the PA group is the biggest group in the public service, and they sort of use it as a pattern. We disagree with the pattern, so that's why we fought for it. What we got was the $400 signing bonus instead, which is actually equivalent to 0.6% of, let's say, an SP4, SP5 salary. So. It's a crappy amount in the 5th year for sure. The good thing is that there is a 5th year. We're not back tomorrow doing the next contract. So I would argue that there was probably some uncertainty for the government, sure. But all I can do is have you rest assured that we spent an awful lot of time trying to bump that up. And it wasn't, but we got the $400. I mean, I know it's not pensionable. It's not the perfect scenario, but it's cash money.
Thank you. Can you elaborate on the changes to parental leave and on what date the changes will be implemented?
Okay, could I come back to this? Actually, before I do that, I want to pull it up. But it's possible. As for the changes that will be implemented, it is in fact upon ratification.
Right. So there's part of the question, Mustafa. While answers looks that up for you to be very clear. The implementation date will be when the contract is ratified. And just while he's looking that up, I'm just going to talk a little bit about all the important little actions that locals across the country took, in supporting the bargaining team just by wearing a T-shirt or wearing a pin. When we asked you to stand, our members of the call center, they stood. I got a call. Nicholas, what's happening? You're taking strike action at your call center. We're getting calls from the CRA. What's going on? We're not taking any strike action. The workers are standing up all at the same time while continuously working, right? So, we to all the members that across the country that participated in some type of activity, who just didn't look to the other person and didn't do anything, we want to say thank you for every action that you took, every email that you sent, every tweet that you made, every phone call to your MP, every visit to your MP. We would have went to many MPs with members lobbying them on Phoenix and lobbying them on getting some traction, some movement on our contract. So all those workers who took time out, all those workers who came out to demonstrations that we held, and across the country, who've sent in your pictures, and we've seen locals from across the country support the bargaining team. These actions are not, they may seem small to you, but they are, the employer does look at that to determine the appetite, to determine, whether they want to settle this contract or not. If you're just joining us, welcome. Please share this live stream to your audience. Start a watch party, and I'm gonna bring back on Adam. Adam, do you have the answer for this question on parental leave? Do we need some more time?
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so what I'll tell you is, again, without getting into the technicality of a ratification vote or a ratification document, let me just tell you what I've got here that should satisfy the answer. So the parental leave pay it's got updated language to match the new legislation, okay, including a new extended leave option and sharing of the parental leave. There's an expanded supplementary allowance every week and employees on extended or shared parental leave. Additional weeks for parents covered under the Quebec parental insurance plan. I don't know if this is the case here when both parents work for the public service. And then finally, update of language to account for the new legislation, reducing the waiting period for EI employment insurance from 1 week to 2 weeks. So that's the summary of what's in there. Now it's quite a big article too. But once we get that out there, you'll be able to read it in more technical terms. Put it that way. But that's the summary I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully that answers your question, Mustafa. We're gonna go. This is a big question. It's covering our whole face here. We're gonna go to Corey, and Corey is asking pretty much. With regards to 3-year threshold for conversion, it looks like some clarity she's saying that's needed. For example, some employees started in the call center and some started in Arnie, and in the interim, there has been movement and attrition. How can you be certain which department they will be made permanent in upon their 3-year conversion? So another 3-year conversion question, where will they be made permanent?
So this one, I would say 100% it's Marc Briere. He was instrumental in getting this as a condition of signing the contract, but it was outside of the contract. But also, I love giving him the questions that I can't answer.
Defer to you, Brother Briere.
Thanks a lot, Adam. That's a good one. It's a case-by-case situation. The employer has some, follow some rules. Generally speaking, it is not complicated because somebody has been doing the same work all the time and they are just being converted. But it's supposed to be to the substantive position. Now, I guess the important factor is to establish the substantive position. So the question is, it's not. I'm not clear. What's the substantive position here? If somebody was, if there was a permanent lateral move to another position, and after that they reach the threshold to be converted, well, then it would be for the new position that they've been permanently lateral moved. But if they are just with elastic, they go to a job, they come back, well, the substantive is the original position. So that's the general rule. Now, if it's more complex than that, I would probably ask a sister to, provide it to, management, who should be the ones answering. But I mean, she can also give it to the local and we can look into it. But I just want to give you an answer on something that could be a bit more tricky and give a false information. I don't want to do that. And by the way, Nicholas, if you want, after I got a few answers on previous questions that we didn't have the answers, I have some friends that are helping me.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to go ahead and answer this? Let's give Brother Jackson a break.
Sure, thank you. On the question about the Sun Life, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. So somebody confirmed. If somebody was under Sun Life, they need to inform Sun Life for the retroactive payments for the portion that they were not paid by CRA, and then CRA needs to confirm the information being provided by the member to Sun Life, and then Sun Life will pay retroactive payments. I'm looking into the other question about WSIB, or like the workers' compensations. We believe it's the same thing. Again, it would be with WSIB, need to inform them, and then CRA needs to confirm the information. Now, okay, and now I've got one information. What I mean, if a member is deceased, there would be no retroactive payment. I guess with a workers' compensation, the payment would be made of the salary at the moment of the member passed away. But this is an exception. So all that to say that people are entitled to retroactive payments, whether they're being paid by CRA or another third party, being Sun Life or WSIB. It's just a question of these third parties. They don't know, so we need to inform them. So the member informs the organization, and then CRA, they need to get in touch with compensation for CRA to confirm the info. And once it's confirmed, they're good to go. And I'm sure in a case like this, when we sign an agreement, Sun Life and WSIB or other workers' comp around the country, they will get many calls. They will know that when the information is coming, they know right away after a few calls that there's a trend here, and there's a contract that was signed. There'll be a lot of retroactive payments. So I'm sure they have discussions with the CRA, with the compensation people at one point to say, okay, look, expect a lot of calls. This is coming. So I'm not that worried about that, but it's just a bit more complex because it involves another party to make the payments during these period of times. So that's all I've got for now. If I have other friends sending me information and makes me look smart or not as dumb, then I'll let you know.
Thank you very much. So those were some additional answers to your questions. Keep sending your questions, and we will certainly try to get them answered this evening. I'm going to bring back on Adam and Stella. Hi, Stella. Say hi.
Okay, say hi.
Hi.
Say hi, Nicholas.
Hi, Nicholas.
How's it going? How are you?
I'm good, Nicholas.
Awesome. What are you doing?
I'm just at my house.
Wow.
What Oh no, I thought I saw a question there. Sorry. Yeah, so I don't want to certainly cut your night short, but I am going to have to put her to bed soon, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to have to put myself to bed. It's been a crazy couple weeks for sure.
Thank you very much. Well, listen, thank you for making yourself available. We know that parenting and and it is a Saturday evening, so the membership really appreciates you taking the time out. You're not getting paid for this, neither am I. So thank you very much for making yourself available and of service to the membership this evening.
One final word, if that's okay, Nicholas. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Sure.
I just want to say, it's a frustrating series of events that happen through bargaining, and 4 years is unacceptable. That's the unfortunate snail's pace that the Treasury Board uses when they bargain. And frankly, they know the longer they drag it out, the more angry members will get, and perhaps at the union. So it's a game of chicken that they're playing. There's no doubt. Those delays are built in there on purpose, but we have to thank the members consistently for standing by. It's very easy to feel like giving up on the union, but without sounding cliche, the union never gives up on you. So even if you get that feeling, that's okay. We hope we can bring it back into the midst, but we will never give up on you. That's our job. So I'd like to say thank you again, Nicholas, for your activism. Thanks for setting this up. We will have much more specific details when ratification comes, for sure. And every answer will be, right to the T.
Ooh, baby.
Thank you very much, Brother Jackson. So you've heard it there. His final words for tonight is, we will never give up on you. So thank you very much for continuing to support the bargaining team and for supporting the union in achieving this landmark contract. We're going to continue the conversation with Brother Briere. We're going to use him as our backup every now and then to answer questions here tonight. He has a wealth of information. We're going to go local for a little bit. We're going to talk to some local leaders to see what the membership is saying about this contract. We're going to bring on the president for Toronto West, Psac-Ute, and we're going to bring on Ingrid Ridhams. She's the vice president for Hamilton, for the Hamilton local. So let's chat a little bit peer to peer. Tell us what are you hearing locally? Good evening, Brother Hewitt.
Sorry, I had my mic on mute there. Listen, I'm going to keep this really quick. You told me keep it under 2 minutes, so I'm going to keep this as quickly as possible. I was hoping to catch Adam on the phone, or sorry, online here, but unfortunately we missed him. But I just wanted to say, because I'm not exactly sure if Ken Bai is here. I'm also the alternate RVP for the Greater Toronto region, and I just wanted to thank Adam. I want to thank Marc, and I want to thank Magali for their hard work and dedication for getting this done. We had a lot of frustrated people here in the GTA. We heard things from them, a lot of frustration from them, and we weathered the storm. We got the job done, and I just wanted to thank them on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much for getting a wonderful agreement done. Can't wait to ratify it. Can't wait to get money in my pockets and everybody else's pockets, and we can move on with some serious work here. So thank you very much. On another note, I just wanted to pass on behalf of the GTR, the Greater Toronto Region, to Adam, our condolences on the loss of his partner. We know how hard that is, and he worked through it, and he's a trooper. There's much respect for Adam, and all the best. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you, brother. That's it for me and for the GTR. Thanks, Nicholas. I want to thank you very much for putting this together, bro. This was quick, and we're getting a lot of questions, and I made sure that my local and a lot of the locals here in the GTR are online. We're getting a lot of answers. Thank you very much for making this easier for us to answer the questions going forward. So thank you very much. And everyone out there, celebrate. Woohoo!
Sorry, is my audio out? Testing 1, 2. Looks like I'm having some technical difficulties.
All right, so is that better? Are we back on there? Terribly sorry about that. Thank you very much, Brother Briere, for pointing that out to me. So we're going to go to some questions. Actually, I'm going to go over to Ingrid. I was looking for Ingrid. I see her back now. Ingrid, tell us what are you hearing locally?
Sorry, what was that?
What are you hearing locally? Welcome. What are you hearing locally about this new contract? What are members telling you?
So locally, just for some context here, I am second vice president of one of our larger call centers. And we have a lot of new employees. We have a lot of term employees. So what I'm hearing is a lot of excitement. People are very happy with the pay increases, but more importantly, they're very happy with the improvement in conditions at the call center. And they're very, very happy with the term conversion. That is huge for them. We have employees that have been there well beyond the 5-year mark that continue to not be permanent. And I think in light of this pandemic, those call center workers have always worked hard, and the pressure and stress that have been on them through these past few months has really highlighted the need for some of these things. So everyone in our local is pleased. One of the biggest things that I was happy about was the inclusion of the domestic violence leave. I don't think we've really heard too much about that. I have personally heard some negative comments about it in the past, about how it would be used, and people would be nervous to ask for it. But speaking from personal experience, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and that leave would have been hugely helpful to me. These types of things helps with that stigma and helps make domestic violence survivors feel safe. And I love to see that in the contract. It's not just about your income, it's about your livelihood, it's about your work-life balance, it's about having these things that protect you not only in the workplace, but in your home. So I was so happy to see some of these bereavement leave, domestic violence leave, to allow our members when life happens, to help them out with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Tell us, and I also came from a call center, so I know what that extra 5 minutes means. Tell us what that extra 5 minutes means for workers who are taking call after call after call after call.
So the biggest thing for me, what it means, and for the workers in my workplace, is a huge improvement to their mental health. This is the number one complaint I hear from our call center workers, is that they are stressed and overworked and they feel overwhelmed and they just need a moment to breathe. And that's what this 5 minutes is going to give them. It sounds like not a lot of time to us who do not work in the call centers, but as someone who has worked in the call center, I started in the call center in 2010, it is going to make a big difference. Those calls coming in, that beep in your ear, beep in your ear, beep in your ear, especially when you get those more difficult calls, a lot of our members face abuse from the public. Some of the calls are more difficult, coming from single parents who are struggling. This will really help improve the mental health and well-being of our membership in the call center.
And I think also, Ingrid, that this also benefits the employers significantly, because what this means is that we should see a decline in those workplace accommodations that are usually associated with mental health, because now you're getting a chance to breathe. You're getting a few more minutes in the hour to remove yourself from that from the calls, and you're able to have a little bit more time for yourself. So I think it in that regard, it should also help the employer reduce those numbers. The employer is a big champion for mental health, right? So all of that would align to all of that. What are your thoughts on that?
On more than one occasion, I have had call center workers say to me, I wouldn't need this accommodation if I was treated as a human being, which, that's heartbreaking to hear. And people need room to breathe, and they need room to process their feelings. And we need to remember that these are workers, and we need to treat them with respect. And that has not been happening in the past with our call center employees. I think it will really help too with the stigma around mental illness. I have heard a lot of people say, I don't want to get an accommodation. There's nothing wrong with me. Well, first of all, there's no shame in ever getting an accommodation. But it's nice to know that having this balance will absolutely help with that and help with that process and remove some of those stigmas, I hope, around getting the accommodation process and getting that. A lot of people, especially our terms, the term conversion is huge for accommodations. A lot of terms are very fearful to speak up for their own mental health and well-being, a fear of reprisal, which I say it until I'm blue in the face. You do not need to be fearful of that. It's your human right to be treated equally if you have a disability. But until that they get that rubber stamp saying that they're indeterminate, they're nervous, and that precarity adds to the stress, adds to their mental illness symptoms. So I think it's going to, the whole package is going to be, we're going to see a huge improvement in mental health in the call centers. And that's my hope.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. I appreciate you joining us this evening to share how this will impact the membership, especially those at the call center who the union has made some significant gains for them in terms of their mental health. So I want to thank you again for making yourself available on such short notice on this beautiful Saturday evening. You know, I'm happy to get a break from the kids. So
I've got my 3 and 6-year-old having a little meltdown in the other room for bedtime. But
I don't know if you were watching earlier. My entire screen just shifted all that way, and I kind of lost it. My living room is just pulling the cable, pulling the whole system away. So if that happens again, you know why. Thank you very much, Ingrid.
Yeah, thanks, Nick.
For those of you who are just joining us, that was Ingrid Whittam. She's the vice president at the Toronto, at the Hamilton call center, where hundreds of workers are employed at the call center. They are administering critical benefits for Canadians. The Canada Emergency Response Benefit that provided $2,000 to families, individuals that were in need. I don't see any more questions being posted here. So I am going to ask for one final call for any questions, and I'll bring back on Brother Briere to give some final words about this new contract in Phoenix and any final remarks. I'll let him close off the show tonight. And you know, we're still strong at 200 and over 30 viewers. So thank you for keeping it locked in. And we're almost 2 hours in. So we really appreciate you staying with us. So I don't see any more questions being posted. So it looks like we've gone through a lot of the questions. Yeah, Teresa, I think you're a little bit late. Not a little late, very late. So yes, we are getting 2,500 up to. That's very important. It's up to 2,500, depending on when your employment for the period that starts. If you were employed in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and the present year, then you would receive the full amount. If you were not, then it's part of that amount, starting with $1,000 for 2016. So I'm going to bring back on. So we're getting this question again. We've answered this question earlier, Cheryl, but you've rephrased it in a similar way. What are the chances the agency will call a moratorium on conversion before it takes effect? Brother Briere answered this earlier, and he said that there's a possibility that this could happen. We don't know, but let me bring back on Brother Briere. He's better equipped to answer that question.
Okay. I doubt very much that's going to happen. I've made it clear to the commissioner of the CRA that with this change, well, I don't want to see, some managers trying to circumvent the change happening. So we will follow up very closely on the list of terms, those who are getting close to the 3-year mark. There's always a chance that it could be a moratorium. I mean, it's like this is like driven by the government. So they might say we have a huge problem with our budget, which they do. So it's not, impossible, but it's never been discussed by the employer. So if it comes, it's going to come from way high up, from the prime minister, the privy council office, or something like that. But there's absolutely no indication to that effect. The commissioner or the head of HR for CRA never mentioned that to me. So I don't expect it. And the date is coming up fast. Like the effective date is no later than December 1st, and can be as early as when we sign the agreement. So I don't expect it. We will hear from them before if it does happen. But I don't expect it, to be honest. But I cannot say for sure it's not going to happen. It can always happen. It's always there. But it's not. It's never been discussed. So I would be very surprised that between now and then it would happen, to be honest.
Okay. Thank you. There's another question here coming in. So the Phoenix payment is in fact done by calendar year, not tax year, right?
Yeah, it's done, let's say, from April 1st to March 31st. So it's 16-17 and like April 1st, because Phoenix, well, for us anyways, at CRE started in April, right? Of 16 and not in February. We were in the second wave. So April 1st to 16 to March 31st, 17, somebody needs to be on strength for 1 day. Like not even working, you need to be on strength. You can be on leave for 1 day during that year, and every year thereafter. The first year is $1,000, and then every subsequent years, the last 3 years, $500 per year.
We're getting a slightly unrelated question here, but I'll present it. I know this was part of bargaining, but what are the chances of more employees, especially call center employees, continuing to work from home going forward, even post-COVID?
That's a very good question. It's related to bargaining, but I say that it's likely that there'll be more people working from home in the future. It doesn't take a big crystal ball to see that, not only in the CRA, but in the federal government and in all businesses, private companies as well, private industries. Right now, I guess the maximum, according to the business resumption plan, is 30% maximum. But the rule right now is you work from home until you have to report to work because you cannot work from home. That's simple. So I think we're in this for quite some time. After the pandemic, I would not be surprised. I know there's talks at the federal government. So I think there'll be a push to have more, work done remotely. This came from this came real fast. They adjusted fast. They bought a lot of equipment. They're even giving equipment to employees when it comes to ergonomics, like chairs and so on, the computers. So they're investing a lot of money, and they are seeing firsthand that the job can be done from home for a lot of people. And it could save them a lot of real estate. So that's just my little crystal ball talking here. So I think we're going to see more of it, but we're for sure will be in discussion with the employer. So we'll deal with the pandemic situation for quite some time, probably. And after that, but number one priority is the health and safety of the employees, of our members. And so this is, I think, pretty good right now. So we'll see, but I expect more telework in the future. Yeah.
And I think just to add to that, operationally, as you mentioned, the employer would have invested significant amount of capital in equipping everyone to work from home. And I think that's something that they'll definitely be looking at, how to maximize those investments. Let's go back to a previous question, and they're asking for clarification on it. And it has to do with the calendar years. Perhaps this example may be a little bit clear. So someone hired in 2019 December who is still working only qualifies for 1 year, not 2 calendar years.
That's correct. 1920. So the first year is 16-17, 17-18, 18-19, 19-20. So that means for 1920, that's April 1st, 19 until March 31st, 2020. So December 19 is 1 year only. Yeah, it's $500.
Thank you.
I mean, for everybody. Apart if somebody had a personal issue, they can be entitled to additional compensation. But for the general compensation for all, that'd be 1 year, $500.
Thank you very much for that question. I don't see any more questions. So, Brother Briere, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. And we really appreciate the waiver that you got this evening to join us. I know.
Tell my spouse.
Yes, please pass that on. Would you like to share any final words with our membership? We still have 225 people locked in here.
Yes, I would for a few minutes. Yes, thanks a lot, Nicholas. Well, first of all, I'd be remiss if I wouldn't thank you for putting this on tonight. I know you've done a few of these on other topics as well. We're at distance, but we still communicate. I think it's very important to, engage with our members and try to answer questions of our members. We can differ in different ways, emails and videos and, on our website. But being interactive like that, I think it's very good. So I'd like to thank you for putting this on. I'm glad I could join tonight. I guess I'll take some time off too, a little bit within the next week, except working maybe back and forth about the deal for the conversion of terms on the wording. But it's been difficult. But you know what? It's been at least I'm very pleased with the result. As Brother Jackson mentioned before, it's been difficult, but at the end of the day, the members delivered. And I said that too. We are nothing like we can do everything we want. We can go at the employer. If we don't have the support of our members, we won't be able to accomplish much. I know it sounds like an old record, but it's not. The reasons why we were able to achieve what we've done at the bargaining table and for the term conversion is because testimonies that I just heard from Sister Rhythms. When I went across the country to do annual general meetings, visiting office, myself, our first national vice president, Brother Gates, Brother Jackson, our regional vice presidents, the local presidents, like when the employer is hearing, the managers are hearing from the employees in call centers, the terms, people working shifts, and there were some situations that were not fair at the CRA. We're trying to fix, most of them. It's a huge organization. Sometimes it's fine in Ottawa at HQ, but sometimes the message doesn't make it to the floor, and some people in management are not following, the direction from HQ. So we are working to improve the working conditions of our members. Obviously, we knew that the cash was very important, and we got this, and we'd like to, to have this done before, but we had problems not only with CRA, but with Treasury Board. And even though the cash was very important, what is it to have a good pay increase if you don't have a job? And if you have shitty work conditions, excuse my language, how good is it? If you're going nuts and when you come to work and you're stressed and you just want to leave that place because you can't work there, it's useless. So we needed to tackle all this. I see Sister Betty Bannon now putting a comment that she's proud of UTE, our past national president, Sister Bannon. She was the president when we got the conversion of terms back in 2007, and she was quite a fighter. She was feared, I guess, and by myself when I started in the union. And she can testify it's been a long battle for the conversion of terms. So I couldn't be happier with the outcome. I hope the members will support this deal. We can ratify this quick and get the money in your hands and get the changes being implemented. We will follow up with the employer. But I am very proud. I'm a proud national president, and I'm proud of our bargaining team. They did a fantastic job. But I'm proud of the commitment, the solidarity of our locals and our members. We've been able to do this because of you, the membership, and I'm just glad that we were able to, come up with something decent for you because you deserve it. So, thanks a lot, and again, Nicholas, thanks for putting this discussion tonight. And I'll be glad to participate in the future, and I'll try to get more waivers for my spouse to do it.
Thank you. That was national president of the Union of Taxation Employees, who were able to deliver a historic contract for approximately 30,000 workers in the federal public service. Workers delivering Canada's economic security, workers delivering billions of dollars in emergency relief benefits. I really think that this contract has come at a time when workers are at their lowest. I remember at the beginning of this pandemic, many workers, especially call center members, said, "Nicholas, we don't even have permanent, and we're working where they're asking us to do this and this extra work and this extra work, and we have all of these other stuff that's happening too, and we feel really left behind." To those workers, your union has answered your call for help. And it's we have a lot to be thankful for, and we continue to, be in a privileged position as federal public service workers. So continue to deliver, the important services that Canadians need. Continue to deliver it with pride, and and I just want to talk to all the locals for a second. We are in an age where telework might be the thing. Remote working, virtual working might be the thing going forward. We must leverage and utilize technology to communicate with our membership. We need to be able to have AGMs virtually. We need to be able to have all our meetings virtually, to be able to do new hire orientation virtually. We need to utilize as much, and it'll be way harder for us to organize and mobilize while people are working from home, not in the workplace. You can't see them. So we have to use all the tools that are available to us, and we should start now. We shouldn't wait for a possible second wave of COVID to engage, right? We were able to organize this meeting in the space of an hour after hearing about the bargaining decision, right? Because we felt that it was important for for the members to have an opportunity to talk to the leaders, to ask questions. Especially now, you're not in the office, you can't ask anything, you can't, So and that's why we're here. We're here to serve you. We're here to to ensure that your working conditions are better, to ensure that you have the tools that you need to deliver important public service that Canadians need. So to the membership, to everyone that still on here, I'm seeing over 200 people that's still locked in, liking, sharing, commenting. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm just gonna stay on for a few more minutes, just looking at the questions that are posted there, and we'll be around. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, and if you are locked in still, we appreciate the support that you've continuously provided to the bargaining team, all your actions in the workplace. We thank you very much. So I'm here to answer a few more questions. I'm seeing some coming up here still. We're going to be right here, hanging out a little bit, listening to, celebrating a little bit, because we're celebrating a victorious contract for workers, a huge win for workers. We're celebrating a huge win for workers. Work-life balance, we're celebrating.
Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl them a wine non-stop. We have the drinks them in a my cup. We gonna party all night, all night. 24 parties we hit in a row. Tonight are the very last show before we are out on the road. The girl them a release the load. So let me see your hands up, so everybody know, put your hands up, so if you're ready for the road, let your friend them know. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road. So we're ready, yeah, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 yeah, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. The girl them a wait all week, figured up on the road like free. The music full of applause, with thousands of children free. Everywhere you look is just food, and everybody in a real nice mood. We gonna party all night, all night. Everyone with painted body, clean credit and tainted money. And nothing can break it up.
So there you have it. It is 9:05, 2 hours later. Thank you very much for joining us once more. And stay tuned in, stay plugged in, follow our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and keep those questions coming in. You could reach us on our website, you could reach us on WhatsApp, you could talk to us live on our website. And of course, you could call us if you have any questions. Thank you very much once more for joining us, and have a good evening.